Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this next episode of the Trusted Data Foundation, episode 2, in fact, where we're talking all things community today. I'm Sean Jackson. I'll be your host for today's episode. Now, following on from our last session last week, if you remember, and you joined us then, we talked with a number of employees of Reltio, a number of Reltians, as we call them, about their career journey, and about what attracted them to Reltio, I beg your pardon there, and what they really found interesting about Reltio and their journey, and what they really like about being at Reltio. And I thought as a natural progression from that, we'd talk about the community, because Reltio is more than just the Reltians who are at Reltio. It's about the people who obviously use our technology. So it's our customers, it's our users, and also prospects, so people who are looking to look at our technology as well. So I thought we'd talk about the community from that point of view, but also what it's like to build a community from scratch. What's the benefits of having community and the purpose it serves both its members, its users, and beyond. So with that in mind, I'm pleased to welcome to this episode our community program manager, Chris Detzel. So welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here today. And I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation with people and with yourself about the importance of a good community. Now, just important for people watching today, if you're watching on a desktop, you will have a panel to the right-hand side of your screen, so you can get involved there. If you're watching us today from a mobile device, then just look at the mobile screen at the bottom of your screen. You have a chat box there where you can get involved as well. So that'd be really interesting if you can get involved there as well. So Chris, I'm just going to swap out here and just go to different modes. We can see each other. There we are. So that's great. So Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm really good, man. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and it's sunny and hot. So, that's why I'm wearing this sweater today.
Well, I'm in London in the UK, and it's a bit cooler over here. So I'm actually quite glad to have long sleeves on today, even though we are July 15. It should be the height of summer, but today the sun doesn't have his hat on. Hopefully he'll come out tomorrow, which is great. So Chris, I just thought for the benefit of our audience here, just tell us a little bit about yourself. So perhaps a bit about your background, how long you've been at Reltio, and as I always ask, one fun fact that perhaps nobody else would know about you.
Well, hey, yeah. So I've been with Reltio since December of this last year, so going on 7 months. And a little bit about my background. Previous to Reltio, I worked at a company called Imperva and built their community from scratch. And then previously to Imperva, I built, I was at a company called Rexel, a $15 billion company nobody's ever heard of, but it was a lot of fun. Built 3 communities there. And then before that, I worked at a company called Forrester Research for a long time. Yeah, and then 1 or 2 maybe fun facts. One is, I kind of hesitate to bring this up, but it's kind of fun. I can belly dance, so I won't show that today. But
wow,
and then
that's not what I expected.
I wanted to do the unexpected, and then my wife and I love to run, and so she's a big marathoner and ultra runner. I do a lot of half marathons. I've done a few ultras like 50Ks and a few marathons and stuff like that. So.
Wow. So how long does a 50K take to run? I mean, I can just about do a half marathon and then I kind of want to die,
Well, it all depends. So a lot of those 50Ks are on trails. The trail that I ran my first 50K on, it took me about 5 hours and 20 minutes or so. Yeah.
Good Lord. Wow. So you have to have a lot of energy snacks too, and protein bars or what have you to keep you going, I guess, right? And a lot of water.
Yeah, they have these aid stations that you can drink, and they'll have kind of snacks there so that you don't run low on energy and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're a lot of fun though.
Excellent. Wow. Well, I'll take my hat off to you. Belly dancing and running 50K marathons, you, right? Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, before we get into kind of the aspect around the Reltio community, let's just take a step back and just talk about community overall. So, what's the reason for a community? What do you really see as the sort of real value of a community per se?
Yeah, first and foremost, look, we see our customers as people, we see our employees as people, same thing with partners, et cetera. We're all people, and we all want to connect. And the way we do that is through community itself. Think about it. A lot of times, these people that, have Reltio products or are in the master data management space, it's complex, it's hard, and they don't want to recreate the wheel. They want validation that, they're maybe getting something right. They want to know how to use a specific part of Reltio, or they want to understand kind of the whole landscape of master data management. I mean, it's not that they're smart people, but they want to validate and they want to understand, and they want to make sure, oh, you did it that way? That's interesting. Why'd you do it that way? Oh, I didn't think of that, and so, the more you connect with peers, the more you connect with others that are doing somewhat similar things than you, the better off you are, and the better job you can be, better job you can do. And you can also validate with your boss. Well, this company's doing this, that, and the other, and this company's doing this, that, and the other. We should take that approach because they've been successful in A, B, C, and D, that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's the sense that, yes, a vendor will tell you about their solution and tell you all the great things about it, but nothing beats that third-party validation to have access to a community of people who are using it and can talk firsthand of their experiences with that technology and what they're doing with it that perhaps other people aren't aware that the technology could do. So absolutely. So if you look back to the Reltio community, which launched on April 28th, it's fair to say you've been really successful with the launch, and it's hats off to you, Chris, because you've really driven the adoption of it, I think. But talk us through some of the aspects of building a community from scratch, from ground zero up. Where do you start? You've got obviously experience in this area, having done it before, but where do you start?
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I'm always harsh on myself to think we can always get better. We've had some success, and that's great. But the way I kind of look at, and I tell this story all the time, is when I was at Imperva, and even when I was at Rexel, the biggest thing that I went to go do is in the beginning is talk to the employees, and understand kind of their role and what they do. At the end of the day, for me to be successful, or for community to be successful, I need all the smart people to be able to help. And so, it could be in sales, it could be in customer success, it could be a TAM, it could be, a PM, it could be an engineer, it could be all of those people. And so, I'll get on the phone within 2 to 3 weeks and I'll talk to 40 or 50 people internally to really understand their role, what they do. And I'm trying to figure out who these smart people are. And then I also try to start building a foundation and a team, if you will, this virtual team, because you need marketing, you need customers, you need everybody to really help kind of push that. And so that's where I start at ground zero, is within the employees. I don't think of anything else besides of, hey, this is what we're trying to do. And I try to figure out what is the problem that we're trying to solve, and so, in our case, our customers are wanting to connect with each other. Our partners are wanting to connect with our customers, partners, and, master data management professionals with each other. And so we know, some of that is getting answers quickly. And so we know that, to the product, but also to master data management problems. And so that's one. And then two, it's kind of a reach out to customers, to letting them know, and partners as well, letting them know we're going to have this community. And so, I just sent out an email to several thousand customers myself, right, and partners, and said, hey, look, we're starting this community from scratch, and we need your help. We want you to be engaged and involved. And several, 40 or 50 people emailed me back and said, yeah, I'm willing to help and do whatever it takes. Get on the phone with customers, get on the phone with partners, get on the phone with continuous employees. So it's nonstop building. And then, there's also that vendor kind of stuff that I have to go through and say, what platform are we going to use, and things like that. I don't know if anybody wants to, if I should get into all that, but basically it's employees, customers, partners, and letting them know, and just seeding content, finding content, and then start, once you kind of go live, start building programs. It's all about engaging our employees and customers and partners and others to connect. And so that's what I'm trying to do with the Reltio community, is building programs through content that is relevant to them, and so that they get the most out of our products, but also so that they connect to other people to learn best practices. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. If you take that concept of developing content, so you've won hearts and minds about the aspect, about the possibility and the true objective of having a community, what it's going to deliver, and then you start down the journey of delivering that content. What have you found with the Reltio community, at least, that has been the kind of the most successful thing that you've launched on the community that's really resonated with the people that have joined?
Well, there's a couple aspects to it. One is just the discussion back and forth. And so it's one is, we've had several customers and partners just go back and forth with each other to try to help each other out and say, well, we did it this way. Go to community.reltio.com today, and you'll see those really cool and rich discussions. So that's been really cool to find, and especially in the last 2 months, because sometimes it just takes time to really get that discussion going. There's probably 7 to 10 people already we have more than that, but really engaged and really trying to help out in the community. And so that's one. And then two, I've built a webinar program that that really focuses specifically on technical deep dives. So finding professionals within Reltio that are very good at a certain aspect of the product, knowing that customers are having problems with some of those issues and partners, and then and making sure that they get the most out of the product. We want to make sure that they're using it the most, and that kind of stuff. That's been really successful. And then we have an Ask Me Anything with our CTO and founder, Manish, tomorrow. And so really just letting people have, access to, people like Manish and other experts within Reltio. And so that's going to be really nice. And then, the webinar program's been really good. We also have a blog program that, we try to go deep into the products on how to use it and things like that. And then we'll have some high level stuff sometimes. But, those are really kind of the three things is, the discussions are going well. I do spotlight some of our customers through blogs, and people really like that because, hey, look, they want to know these are the people that do this job every single day, and so if you go look today, you'll see 3 spotlights, and they're all customers. And and we do that because people love to be spotlighted. I love it because now I know exactly what they do, and I can just ping them and say, hey, Angie, I know you do this thing. Can you help, so and so? And she'll be like, yeah, no problem. And then, right. So it's really cool to see those things starting to take off. We're just in the beginning, and that's the cool thing, but it is a fun thing to watch. People helping each other,
Well, I think it's phenomenal. I was checking out some stats the other day, and like I said, it's been less than 4 months that the community's been live in earnest. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw I think it was 600 members on the community who have signed up and are active users of the platform, which is again phenomenal to go from that 0 right up to 600 within 4 months. And obviously,
I think we're a little under 600, but it's really close. But yeah, within 3 months, since April 28th, we've been live, so less than 3 months. And so, yeah, it's really cool to see because, people, my boss is like, oh, how many people can we get? And I was like, I don't know, like we've never done this before. And you make up some numbers and stuff like that. And so, it's surpassed my expectations, especially in the first few months to see people engage the way they are. People sign up and just they're hungry for this stuff, man. And it's so cool to see. Like I get so excited when I see somebody post or 2 or 3 posts a day. I'm like, oh my God, this person's post, let's get an answer for him, as soon as possible, and so I get very excited about that kind of stuff,
Oh, well, there's lots to be excited about. I think it's phenomenal when, like you said, customers and partners are so active and talking amongst themselves about Reltio. I think it's just phenomenal. If you had to choose one thing that excites you the most about the Reltio community, what would it be? And maybe that's too hard a question to answer because there's a lot of stuff to like, but which one aspect would you favor most?
I don't know if there's an aspect, but I'll just say this it is exciting for me to see, one, you built something from ground zero, and then you start seeing people engage, interact, help each other, and it's not just customers helping each other. It's our employees. It's our customers, it's our partners, it's potential, the professionals out there in the space because it's so complex. And so it's really cool to see this come together and have that happen. We're all people and we all, we're not just an account, you know what I mean? We're not just, we all want to be successful in what we do. And so we want to lean on each other, and it is fun to see this. And that's what I care about is that we're helping people, with these complex problems in a digital way,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, customers and partners are people, they're not
yeah,
organizations. It's all about being better together, spreading the knowledge, the intelligence around MDM, about Reltio as well, and just like sharing the love almost, really. I mean, I know it sounds to many a bit corny, but it's absolutely just showing people that we're more than just a company.
yeah,
We're actual people who care, and there are people who are using our technology who care even more that you should leverage. Um,
absolutely.
I'm a fan of kind of three top tips as well.
Yeah.
I like to think in the power of three as well. Um, if you were starting a community from scratch, which three top tips would you give me? For instance, if I was to go off and start my own community for whatever, what kind of three top tips would you give me?
Yeah. I mean, if your company is going to start a community, you know, the community manager, whatever, the title is, the one that's starting it, be kind to yourself, right? This stuff is hard. You come into an organization and people believe in it, but nobody knows exactly what it takes to kind of do it, and so expectations are high. You've got to kind of guide those expectations in the right way and say
Mhm.
community grows slowly but surely, organically. Relationships are built, they're not just made in a day,
Right.
and so you have to build that. You have to, so I would say, the first tip is be kind to yourself in your metrics and everything else, specifically that first year, and
Uh-huh.
go up to those bigger metrics. Two is, you know uh, expectations for the organization, set those and say this is what the expectations are. That's just, I think three is, look, when you build a community and probably other things in life, you have to tell people over and over and over what it means. And so it's okay if Sean Jackson doesn't get community the first or second or third time you tell him, tell him again, tell
Yeah.
those executives, continue to tell the executives, what community brings and those things. And if you have to repeat yourself, that's okay, because people forget, they've got 1,000 things going on internally,
Yeah.
and there's, so those are the three things, that I would kind of look at, for the tips on building a community from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. That resonates with me. The first one that you said about being kind to yourself, it's so important. I think
Yeah.
there is a lot of, there's a lot of effort that has to go into these things to build them and do them the right way. But equally, just give yourself a break if it's not going as fast or as quickly as perhaps that you want it to do in the outset.
Yeah, if you've never done it before, you don't, I mean, you have data around how others have done it and all that stuff, but you've not done it. You don't know how people are going to react. You don't know how the organization is going to react and things like that. Yes, your customers want it, but you also have to tell your customers, you have to tell your partners, and they forget too, right? Like, so,
Yeah,
continue to kind of push it, so.
absolutely. So what's next for the Reltio community? I'm reminded of the fact that we're still in very much lockdown wherever you are in the world,
Yeah.
really. Everyone's craving to get those in-person events again, so the meetups or even the bigger kind of customer events. But what's next for the community in both virtually and physically, so to speak?
Yeah, I think virtually we can kind of continue on, building what we have. We just started, so building those, the webinar program out,
Mhm.
getting those answers to some of those questions quickly, and even getting the organization to kind of push to get those answers to our customers and partners. That's one. So I mean, I know that wasn't a pretty one, but as in, what else is next? Look, I'm looking at our customers and partners to,
Mm.
and some of our integrators and things like that to present on some of these things. So going outside of just Reltio and doing more case studies, more networking. This is all virtually. And then for in-person events, I think there's a huge need for that. And so, I haven't started building that strategy as of yet, but I do think there's a huge opportunity for us to drive some of those things and do that. So it's something it is very much on my mind, and something that probably won't happen this year, but
Mhm.
certainly into next year. We want to start doing those kinds of things, and then we want to empower our customers and partners to, maybe it's through Reltio or whatever, to have their own user group type
Mhm.
things, because I won't be able to go to every single one of them, but if there's one in London, one in Dallas, one in San Francisco, one in New York, etc.,
Yeah.
how do we empower our users and customers and stuff to kind of do that? And so I want to be able to do those kinds of things too. There's a huge opportunity to grow this and more than just what you see on community.reltio.com, but like you said, user events, getting more people to talk about their experiences rather than just Reltio. And so that's what I'll be pushing for some this year into next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I have spoken about this before, but I remember there was kind of in previous lives, previous jobs, I remember these in-person events where some people were a bit skeptical about them, but other people just crave them because the ability just to even go to the bar and have a beer with a fellow customer who's now a friend and just talk openly about experiences with Reltio and other technologies for that matter is just so invaluable. And it's just getting that kind of facilitating those conversations, and virtual meeting.
Sean, I can't wait to go to London and have a beer with you, or you come to Dallas and we have a beer, so.
Believe me, I think everyone's just craving to get those kind of in-person events going, whether it's external or community-based. Excellent. Alrighty. Well, I think that's really coming up to the top of the 20 minutes there. I think this has been a great conversation. So thank you, Chris, for that. And I hope you out there have found real value in what we've been discussing. I'm just going to click to this slide because I just want to leave you all effectively with this. If I just share my screen, there we go. So absolutely, we've been talking all things community today. And if you haven't heard about the Reltio community, well, now you have. And where do you go? Well, simply go to community.reltio.com. Chris has been mentioning the address throughout today's discussion. Go there, create a profile. It's completely free. And then once you're in, you'll find multiple ways where you can network with your peers. You can get answers to the questions that that are burning, and you need answers to. And also you can learn from each other, learn from other MDM experts in the field or in your particular industry for that matter. So
and I'd say lastly, Sean, is anybody can register for tomorrow's Ask Me Anything with our CTO and founder, Manish Sood. So that should be really fun as well. So that's tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, so if you go to community.reltio.com, and I think it's the events tab, is that correct?
That's right.
Webinars tab?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all listed there. Just follow the links. And yeah, it's a great session, a great opportunity to ask us, our CTO and founder, Manish Sood, any question that you want. I mean, he's the expert. He founded Reltio, so no one knows Reltio better than he, perhaps. So
exactly.
There we go. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining this second episode of the Trusted Data Foundation, brought to you by Reltio. We'll catch you next time. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.